Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today. My name is Mike DeCristofaro. I'm the Director of Advisor Relations for New Hampshire Charitable Foundation. In this role, I focus my time on serving as a resource to advisors like you and helping to connect your clients to philanthropic options and helping them to plan, structure, and fulfill their charitable goals. Today, I want to share a few real-life stories of how the work of advisors, typically accountants, attorneys, and wealth managers, have led to some incredible generosity to address the most pressing problems facing New Hampshire. Each year, dozens of generous people learn about New Hampshire Charitable Foundation because of an initial conversation with their advisors. Often, that conversation leads them to partner with us to simplify and amplify their charitable impact. That initial spark of an idea from advisors is often key in helping clients pursue a more structured, meaningful approach to their philanthropy. I think it's notable to start here. These three men pictured: Dudley Orr, John McLean, and Eugene Struckoff. These three attorneys were the trustees of a large estate with a significant charitable focus. To fulfill their roles, they established the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation to be an enduring source of philanthropic capital for New Hampshire. Literally since our foundings, advisors have been key to the work that we do. Since that founding in 1962, we have focused our work on connecting generous individuals, families, and companies with nonprofits providing critical services and meeting pressing needs in New Hampshire. Today, this work is illuminated by our simple purpose: to make New Hampshire a more just, sustainable, and vibrant community where everyone can thrive. We achieve our purpose by supporting nonprofit organizations through grant making, providing scholarships to New Hampshire students, advocating and using our voice on important public issues, and investing charitable assets in alignment with our purpose and values. We offer 6 different fund types, accept donations of various types of assets, and closely partner with donors to understand their interests and goals, and then leverage our staff's knowledge and expertise to help those donors make a difference. Many of you are likely familiar with donor-advised funds. These are our most popular fund type. But the following examples highlight a handful of the other ways that we work. This is Oliver Hubbard. He was a pragmatist, a chicken farmer, and a lifelong Republican who believed in public education and the common good. Oliver was especially concerned about the crisis of addiction in New Hampshire. It irked him that the state made money selling alcohol, but had no state funding for addiction treatment. He mentioned this to his attorney, Charlie de Grand Prix. How, he wondered, could something truly meaningful be done to address this? De Grand Prix suggested that Hubbard work on that question with us at the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation. All of this started to unfold in the mid-90s. And eventually, Oliver Hubbard would give a total of $43.5 million to the foundation. Some while living, some through his estate, all focused on supporting specific organizations important to him and his family, and to address substance use disorders and related mental and physical health issues. This donation created multiple separate funds, including a scholarship, designated funds, and field of interest funds, each with their own specific guiding purpose to ensure our grant making continues to match the priorities so important to Hubbard. To build and guide the strategy for deploying these funds, the foundation convened an advisory panel who recommended a focus on systems and infrastructure. And that's what we've done. This work has included supporting the state's system of regional public health networks and the Center for Excellence on Addiction, which is co-funded by the Foundation and the Department of Health and Human Services. The funds were the catalyst behind the founding and sustaining of the nonprofit advocacy powerhouse New Futures, which contributed to the passage of dozens of laws, from Medicaid expansion, which gave tens of thousands of grounded staters access to health insurance that included coverage for addiction treatment, to the creation and full funding of the state's alcohol fund, and a more recent law that officially created the Bureau for Children's Behavioral Health. Since their establishment, the Hubbard funds have granted out more than $50 million, funding which has also acted to draw in hundreds of millions in state and federal dollars to address these issues. All of this good work is in part because his attorney suggested he have a conversation with the Charitable Foundation. In 2016, the foundation made a commitment to invest at least $10 million per year for 10 years to increase opportunities for our young people. By focusing on grant making and advocacy in 4 areas: early childhood development, family and youth supports, substance use prevention, treatment and recovery, and education and career pathways, we are working toward a goal of increasing opportunity so that more young people can reach their potential and grow into thriving adults who will sustain New Hampshire's communities and economy. We call it New Hampshire Tomorrow. This initiative has braided together funding from many sources: individual donors giving through their donor-advised funds, the foundation scholarship programs, foundation discretionary grant making, and some really meaningful donor commitments. In 2018, an anonymous donor learned of what the foundation was doing in this area and made a $40,000 gift toward the early childhood development and family and youth supports pillars of this work. In 2019, that donor's estate attorney, Bob Wells, and wealth manager, Roy Ballantyne, encouraged him to work more closely with the foundation to address both his current giving plans and charitable estate planning, and he did. In 2020, he and his family made an initial commitment of $1 million to flow directly into the early childhood development and family and youth supports pillars of New Hampshire Tomorrow, all meant to be granted out within that year. And in 2021, they did it again, and again in 2022. In total, this family has given $3 million to key initiatives seeking to maximize the impact of their giving to support specific areas of interest that are important to them. They did so through a deep partnership with the foundation, where they empowered foundation staff to make specific grant distributions to address the most pressing needs that our subject matter experts identified. And they did all of this giving without creating a named fund and while maintaining anonymity. The next story I want to share today is about a gift that came to the foundation as a surprise. Before the donor's passing, we had not had much contact with them. We did not know we were included in his estate plans. For the record, we do prefer meeting with donors when we can to understand their intentions and goals. When this donor passed away, we were notified we would receive a multi-million-dollar sum toward a fund to carry his name, the Everett J. Ryan Educational Fund. Susan Atlas, his attorney, who also served as trustee of the estate, was obviously instrumental in drafting the documents that included the foundation and helping Everett direct his charitable dollars toward something that was meaningful to him. Because we didn't know much about the donor before receiving the gift, I don't have a great story to tell about him, but I do know his generosity and commitment to education has had a remarkable effect on our ability to support public education and provide unrestricted scholarship funds. We all need strong public schools. We need our children to be able to get the robust education that will allow them to go on to become the nurses and doctors, the engineers and electricians, the firefighters and teachers who will support our communities and economy tomorrow. Public K-12 schools play a critical role in providing that opportunity, delivering on the very American promise of an education for all. No matter how much money your parents have, where you live, the color of your skin, or if you get around on your feet or in a wheelchair, K-12 schools are important to our future. Some schools in New Hampshire have well-paid veteran teachers, top-notch facilities, state-of-the-art equipment, and resources. Some districts struggle to pay dedicated educators, have constant teacher turnover, patched together buildings, and outdated resources. The former tend to be in wealthy towns, the latter are not. According to an independent report produced for the state's Commission to Study School Funding, the highest poverty school districts have the lowest student outcomes. The negative relationship between poverty and outcomes is very strong. The Everett J. Ryan Education Fund has been one piece of the foundation's work to support more equitable funding for public K-12 education across New Hampshire. We've also been able to use this fund to expand our unrestricted scholarship awards. Unrestricted awards allow us to prioritize equity, racial justice, and economic security in our award decisions, to increase funding to students who face the most significant barriers to higher education and training. This includes students of color, new Americans, and students who face significant financial challenges. Everett Ryan's commitment to education will pay dividends, literally forever, as our kids who benefit from a robust K-12 education system and the recipients of our scholarship dollars are prepared and empowered to reach their potential and be ready to contribute to New Hampshire's communities and workforce. As you've seen in those first three examples, every single grant and scholarship that the Charitable Foundation makes starts with a person who cared enough to give. Ann Haggart is no different. A graduate of UNH, a teacher turned administrator turned business owner, Ann had a lifelong commitment to education. So it seemed fitting that when her attorney, Alexandra Breed, and her financial advisor, Susan Martori Baker, both suggested she contact New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, the topic of conversation was scholarships. Anne didn't have children of her own, but she had a loving family, including two sisters. Conversations did initially focus on scholarship. The conversations did lead to a scholarship fund, the Haggart Sisters Legacy Fund, to benefit promising graduates with financial need from Keene High School, where the school the sisters had attended. But foundation staff also learned of other things that mattered to Anne: historic preservation, literacy, land conservation, the arts, cultural activities, and animal welfare. To capture all of her specific interests and to ensure support both for her hometown and the larger New Hampshire community, a total of 3 funds were established. The scholarship mentioned above, the designated fund to support Hampton Falls, where a committee of local residents weighs in on specific opportunities for funding, and a field of interest fund to support organizations aligned with their interests across New Hampshire. These 3 funds now generate over $250,000 a year in grant and scholarship awards. Once again, this good work is because of Anne and her generosity, but that was in part made a reality because her advisors suggested she have a conversation with the foundation. These are but a handful of the amazing stories of generosity we get to witness every day at the foundation. Each donor's interests, goals, and finances are different, but with a strong partnership between the donor, their advisors, and the foundation, we can collectively help address some of New Hampshire's most critical issues. If you're interested in learning more or have specific clients in mind, please reach out.